had in him still, after all he had done, after working with the Undertaker, for example, who had, I don't remember Taker ever having one issue with working with Punk. Rey Mysterio had no issues working with Punk. So in the video that Hayes is describing, a lot of the other guys, a lot of the older veterans didn't like this or that. I'm not saying, again, as I mentioned earlier, I'm not there to hear all this dialogue with Michael, but I never got that from anybody. I never got it from anybody all I got from anybody negative about CM Punk was that he's a different breed of cat. He could be a strange guy, and that's because he was not overly extroverted. So in other words, he wasn't fake. He wasn't a sycophant. He was not an ass kisser. And because that was so contrary to the normal behavior of a top guy in any wrestling territory that I've ever been in, any of them, that he was just a different breed of cat, and folks did not know how to deal with him. And simple as that. Bad communication, and he didn't have the support in the front office that he should have had. And that's really, really sad.
It is sad. But he makes the most of it here because he gets over like nobody's business. And he becomes, as a result of this 5-star match and this performance here at Money in the Bank, the hottest, I mean, seriously, the hottest name in wrestling. And not too terribly long after winning the belt, he makes a surprise appearance at the San Diego Comic-Con. And they've booked this and presented this like he's no longer under contract, but he is the champion and he's left with the belt, and he's name dropping. Hey, I might go to New Japan. Hey, I might go to Ring of Honor. This added a layer of realism and intrigue that hasn't existed in not just WWE, but wrestling in years at this point.
And again, a lot of that was his idea. A lot of that was his execution. The execution was all him. And sometimes that will alienate one from the very sensitive writing team. Their idea got shit on, or their idea got improved immensely by letting the talent have input, which should be ongoing with every talent on the roster or anybody's company, AEW included. The talents have got to, like Junkyard Dog used to say, don't come to the arena like a cabbage, all head and no rear end. You got to have ideas, and you got to pitch the ideas, and you can't be BS. I gave the comparison earlier of Punk and Austin. Still think folks should go see that video. Find it, 2K, Austin and Punk. You'll love it, and you'll wish you'll just make you Jones for the match, quite frankly, but it'll also show how good they were. But that Punk was a lot like Austin in that regard. You couldn't be BS'd. He knew what a good angle was. He knew what a good storyline was that fit him. And so that was the same situation there with him. He just was a guy that knew what he needed to do to get over. And guys like that, you let them write their own music, man. They're going to sing it. They're going to perform it. Let them have some hand in writing their music. And finally, I think WWE, maybe by accident, I'm not even sure, or maybe they thought it wouldn't get over. Let's just let him bury himself. I don't have no idea, but it worked. He got over, and he was, like you said, Conrad, at one time, CM Punk was without a doubt the hottest talent in all of pro wrestling, in any continent, anywhere, any promotion. He was the guy for a good period of time. And as an administrator, as a responsible administrator, how do you ignore that? How do you ignore that when they're having a problem as it is, as do most wrestling companies, and getting talents over to that star level where they are at the top of the card, name before the title type guy. And he was that guy, and it just was like an act of God to get that recognized.
Of course, in storyline, they're going to decide that, hey, Punk's no longer with us. We're going to crown a new champion. And of course, they decide to have an undisputed championship match when John Cena is going to defend his world title against CM Punk and his world title at SummerSlam. Punk wins the match, but then immediately loses it to Alberto Del Rio because Alberto is going to cash in, and a returning Kevin Nash is here to attack CM Punk on behalf of Triple H. And after SummerSlam, that becomes the new direction. Punk is accusing Nash of conspiring with Triple H to keep Punk away from the title. And during their verbal back and forths, and there were some memorable moments on TV, we would hear Kevin Nash demean the look. And I think at one point Nash referred to, said that CM Punk looked like someone who worked the third shift at the Waffle House.
Well, it's echoing the sentiments of Nash's buddies, HBK and Triple H. They're following the reality. They're trying to follow the storyline. The reality of the situation is now being turned into a storyline. I applaud them for that, quite frankly. But I think I also acknowledge when Kevin did that, okay, we know this guy's a player now. We didn't like him. We may never like him, but he got over. And as a responsible entrepreneur, independent contractor guy, I need to work with this cat because it's going to increase my pay. We're going to draw more money. I'll make more money on the payoffs, blah, blah, blah. So to me, it was a sign of acceptance to a large degree when Nash got involved as the beard, so to speak, of Triple H and Shawn Michaels to a lesser degree.
Eventually, we know that Punk is going to be cemented as the tippy top guy, and he's going to have an incredible run with the world title, 434 days. Along the way, he's going to brush up against a lot of the top guys, whether it's Daniel Bryan or it's Kane or it's Chris Jericho or it's Triple H, whoever it may be. But something that we haven't really talked about on any of my podcasts is when he has a feud with Ryback, and Ryback is on quite the tear. And a lot of people assume with his new streak that they're priming him for something. And Punk calls in a trio of guys to help him retain the title and hand Ryback the loss. And he's got a crooked referee along the way, but he's also got some help from this new outfit called the Shield. And I think in Punk's history, maybe that piece is overlooked because obviously the Shield are held in such high regard now, but they were introduced as in an effort to help CM Punk. And allegedly one of the original ideas for the Shield, and I believe this is according to the legend, according to the rumor and innuendo, who Punk wanted to be the Shield were Seth Rollins, who is a former Ring of Honor standout as Tyler Black, Dean Ambrose, who was a former CZW indie sensation, John Moxley, and his old pal, who he toured all the indies with and had not just 60, but 90-minute Broadways with, Chris Hero. WWE likes this idea, but deviates and decides not to go with Chris Hero, who we know as Cassius Ohno in NXT, and instead slots Roman Reigns. Mm-hmm. What a tangled web we weave, huh?
Yeah. Well, poor Chris Hero, who's a hell of a worker, a hell of a talent, really is, and a great guy. He basically got fat shamed as well. He may have been another one of those guys that had too big a soft ass. I'm not sure, but his work was amazing. And one of my favorite guys to call matches for is Chris Hero, solid citizen, but the body, the DNA was not good, much like in the eyes of some, much like Punk's. Yeah, that's a significant deal, man, because Punk basically gave the endorsement. So all those fans that were loving Punk and loving his act and the music, the presentation, the whole 9 yards, now they get this. He can give the rub. The rub, very important. CM Punk gave the rub to the Shield, and all those guys, Moxley and AEW now, huge get for Tony Khan and company. Golly, Roman Reigns. They're doing all they can to get Roman Reigns at the top of the card and keep him there. And of course, now you get Seth Rollins, who's the champion and Universal Champion, beats Brock Lesnar twice in the same year. And maybe his most significant accomplishment is that he just got engaged to Becky Lynch.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.